The use of portable generators as a backup power source can provide added reliability and resilience to our facility's critical systems. It is important to carefully plan and execute the installation of portable generators to ensure safety and proper operation. Consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer for guidance and assistance with the design and installation of the portable generator system. The proposal to install 2 portable generators as a backup to an existing automatic generator does not violate National Electrical Code rules about multiple services to a building because the 2 portable generators are not permanently connected to the electrical system and are only used as a backup power source. However, there should be a disconnect for each generator group together at the point of entry of both generator feeders. The twist locks at each nut do not suffice as required disconnects because they are not rated for the full fault current of the generator. The transfer switches should be located as close as possible to the panel they are serving to minimize voltage drop. It is important to ensure that the transfer switches are properly rated for the loads they will be serving and that they are installed by a qualified electrician. To ensure the generators are sized appropriately, calculate the electrical load for each panel that will be powered by a portable generator. Also, provide a safe and convenient location to store fuel for the generators. Establish a regular maintenance schedule for the generators and transfer switches to ensure proper operation in an emergency. Coordinate with the facility's operations and emergency response personnel to ensure they are trained on the use and maintenance of the portable generators. Considering these points ensures compliance and safety. When dealing with portable generators and electrical systems, several critical factors need consideration to ensure safe and code-compliant installations. Firstly, the National Electrical Code, or NEC, addresses the use of generators in Article 701, covering legally required standby systems, and Article 702, which deals with optional standby systems. Understanding which article applies is crucial. The key difference lies in whether the backup power is mandated by law for life safety or other essential functions or is simply an optional convenience. Secondly, it's important to know about the multiple services issue. The NEC generally restricts the number of services to a building, but it does allow for emergency systems and standby power systems under specific conditions. If the generators are truly for backup and are not intended to operate in parallel with the utility or as a primary power source, they are less likely to be considered a second service. Thirdly, the disconnect requirements are critical. According to NEC 225.31 and 225.32, each feeder needs a disconnecting means that is readily accessible. While a twist lock connector might seem like a disconnect, it typically isn't rated for that purpose. A proper disconnect switch, rated for the voltage and amperage, and capable of being locked in the open position, is necessary. Fourthly, transfer switches are essential for safely switching between the utility power and the generator power. Manual transfer switches are acceptable for portable generators, but they must be rated for the application. They prevent backfeeding, which can endanger utility workers and damage equipment. Furthermore, consider overcurrent protection as outlined in NEC 240. Ensure that each generator feeder is properly protected with fuses or circuit breakers. These should be sized according to the generator's output capacity and the ampacity of the conductors. Proper grounding is a necessity. Portable generators often have a grounding terminal that must be connected to a suitable ground. Depending on the installation, this might involve a grounding electrode system. See NEC Article 250 for grounding requirements. Calculate the load to ensure that the generators are adequately sized for the intended load. Undersizing can lead to overheating and potential failure. Moreover, conductor sizing should follow NEC 310.15, considering the ampacity of the conductors, the ambient temperature, and any dirting factors. Appropriate signage is crucial to identify the generator connection points, transfer switches, and disconnects. This helps prevent confusion and ensures that personnel can quickly and safely operate the system during an emergency. Regular maintenance is important for both the generators and the transfer switches. This includes checking the oil, filters, and fuel in the generators and inspecting the contacts and operation of the transfer switches. Follow the manufacturer's recommendations for maintenance schedules. Additionally, consider local codes and permitting. Many jurisdictions require permits and inspections for electrical work, including generator installations. Check with the local authorities to ensure compliance. Furthermore, consider coordination with the utility company. In some cases, the utility might have specific requirements for connecting generators to the building's electrical system. Coordinate with them to avoid any issues. Lastly, training is key. Ensure that facility personnel are trained on the proper operation of the generators and transfer switches. This includes knowing how to start and stop the generators, how to switch between power sources, and what to do in case of an emergency. If fuel storage is needed, follow all applicable regulations for storing fuel, including proper containers, ventilation, and spill containment measures. Furthermore, think about remote monitoring. For critical applications, consider installing remote monitoring systems that can alert personnel to any issues with the generators, such as low fuel, high temperature, or system failure. Keep detailed records of all installations, maintenance, and testing. This information can be valuable for troubleshooting and for demonstrating compliance with regulations. Consider future expansion. If there is a possibility that the facility might need more backup power in the future, plan the system to accommodate future expansion. Additionally, think about security to protect the generators and related equipment from theft or vandalism. Finally, consider the environmental impact. Take steps to minimize the environmental impact of the generators, such as using low-emission generators and properly disposing of used oil and filters. Ensuring these measures are in place helps maintain a reliable, safe, and compliant backup power system. Always consult with qualified professionals to ensure adherence to all applicable codes and regulations. Let's delve further into some of these aspects with additional detail. On the subject of transfer switches, there are two primary types: manual and automatic. Manual transfer switches require someone to physically switch the power source, while automatic transfer switches, or ATS, do it automatically when they detect a power outage. For the scenario described, manual transfer switches seem more suitable, given the portable nature of the generators and the fact that they aren't intended for continuous operation. However, the choice depends on the desired level of automation and the criticality of the loads. Automatic transfer switches are ideal for situations where an immediate switchover is needed, such as for life support systems or critical communications equipment. In the case of manual transfer switches, ensure they are easily accessible and clearly labeled. Personnel should be trained on their operation to prevent any confusion during an emergency. Proper labeling should indicate which switch controls which circuit and the correct sequence of operation. On the subject of disconnects, the primary purpose is to provide a means to safely energize the generator feeders for maintenance or in case of a fault. As previously mentioned, a twist lock connector is generally not sufficient as a disconnect. Instead, a non-fused disconnect switch should be used. This switch should be horsepower rated if it's used to disconnect motor loads, like the well pump. The disconnect should be mounted in a readily accessible location, ideally next to the generator inlet. It should also be lockable in the open position to prevent accidental re-energization during maintenance. Regarding grounding, NEC Article 250 provides detailed requirements for grounding and bonding electrical systems. Portable generators typically have a grounding terminal that should be connected to a grounding electrode system. This could be a ground rod, a metal water pipe, or another approved grounding electrode. The size of the grounding conductor should be based on the size of the generator's overcurrent protection device, as specified in NEC 250.122. It's also crucial to bond all metallic components of the electrical system, including conduit, enclosures, and equipment, to create a low impedance path for fault current. This helps to ensure that overcurrent protection devices will operate quickly in the event of a fault. Sizing conductors is critical for safety and reliability. NEC 310.15 provides the guidelines for determining the ampacity of conductors. The size of the conductor should be based on the load they will be carrying, the ambient temperature, and any applicable dirting factors. For generator feeders, it's important to consider the continuous load. If the generator is expected to operate for extended periods, the conductors should be sized for 125% of the continuous load, as required by NEC 220.8. Overcurrent protection devices, such as fuses and circuit breakers, protect the conductors and equipment from overloads and short circuits. NEC 240 provides the requirements for overcurrent protection. The size of the overcurrent protection device should be based on the ampacity of the conductors it is protecting. However, it should not exceed the rating of the equipment it is supplying. For generator feeders, it's important to coordinate the overcurrent protection devices to ensure that the smallest overcurrent device trips first in the event of a fault. This helps to minimize the extent of the outage and prevent damage to equipment. Regarding fuel storage, the fuel for portable generators should be stored in a safe and convenient location. Follow all applicable regulations for storing fuel, including using approved containers, providing adequate ventilation, and implementing spill containment measures. The quantity of fuel stored should be based on the expected runtime of the generators and the availability of fuel. It's also important to protect the fuel from extreme temperatures and sunlight, which can degrade its quality. Consider using fuel stabilizers to extend the shelf life of the fuel. A preventive maintenance program is essential for ensuring the reliability of the generator system. This should include regular inspections, testing, and maintenance of the generators, transfer switches, and related equipment. Follow the manufacturer's recommendations for maintenance schedules. Keep detailed records of all maintenance activities. The training of facility personnel is often overlooked, but it is vital for the safe and effective operation of the generator system. Personnel should be trained on the proper operation of the generators and transfer switches, including how to start and stop the generators, how to switch between power sources, and what to do in case of an emergency. They should also be trained on how to troubleshoot common problems and how to perform basic maintenance tasks. Regular refresher training should be provided to ensure that personnel remain proficient in their duties. Remote monitoring can provide valuable insights into the performance of the generator system. Remote monitoring systems can alert personnel to any issues with the generators, such as low fuel, high temperature, or system failure. This allows for prompt corrective action to be taken, preventing potential outages. Remote monitoring systems can also provide data on generator runtime, fuel consumption, and other parameters, which can be used to optimize the operation of the system. Thorough record keeping is a valuable tool for managing the generator system. This includes keeping detailed records of all installations, maintenance, and testing. This information can be valuable for troubleshooting problems and demonstrating compliance with regulations. Records should be stored in a secure location and should be readily accessible to authorized personnel. Also, consider potential future expansion of the generator system. This could involve adding more generators, upgrading the transfer switches, or expanding the distribution system. Plan the system to accommodate future expansion. This will help to avoid costly and disruptive modifications down the road. Regarding security, portable generators and related equipment are vulnerable to theft and vandalism. Implement security measures to protect the equipment from unauthorized access. This could include installing fences, security cameras, and alarm systems. Limit access to the generator room to authorized personnel. Consider the environmental impact of the generator system. Take steps to minimize the environmental impact of the generators. This could include using low-emission generators, properly disposing of used oil and filters, and implementing noise reduction measures. Regarding coordination with the utility company, in some cases, the utility might have specific requirements for connecting generators to the building's electrical system. Coordinate with the utility to ensure that the generator system complies with their requirements. This could involve providing the utility with information about the generator system, such as its size, location, and operating characteristics. They may also require a transfer switch to be interlocked with the system to prevent backfeeding. Portable generators provide added reliability and resilience to critical systems, ensuring power is available during outages. Careful planning and execution are vital for a safe and effective installation.